Hello everyone! As you can see, it is late October. I've paddled straight across the lake and will be heading north. The sky looks beautiful. It's just warm enough to be out on the water today. Let's see if we can find some trash to pick up and also spot any wildlife that are still here on the lake. The ducks and geese and swans won't be leaving until the lake starts getting ice on it. Let's get this started with a can picked up out of the water. I see a plastic bag on the beach up ahead, so let me go try to get that out of the sand and water. It's a little bit stuck. This area of the lake does not have a lot of lily pads or seaweed, so it's always easier to look for trash in the water. Let's see what else we can find. I plucked this off the beach. Looks like some kind of packing material. And then here's a cool glass bottle. And then I notice a ladybug struggling to get out of the water. It's not next to anything it can grab onto. So I'm going to take a couple attempts to catch it. Success. No creature's too small to give a little hand to. Now I just have to find some land to put it on. Except this ladybug's being a little stubborn, trying to get it onto this leaf, but failing. But the ladybug does latch onto this branch, and I just hope that it doesn't fall back in the water. And with the ladybug safely out of the water, let's continue on with the paddle. Well, next up is an e-cig. At least I think that's what it is. Don't really know, but it's out of the water. Not too far from that, I find another nicotine product that I also don't know what it is, but it is also cleaned up. I passed this tree branch that's sticking out of the water. May as well use it for a little grip so I can get in and pick up this pop can. Taking a closer look at the can, I see a little snail on the one end, flip it over, and notice a zebra mussel, which is unfortunate. They are an invasive species. Our lake was discovered to have them the last couple of years. but I don't like to see that evidence. This looks like the remains of a bait container lid. I'm about to paddle into one of our bays when I notice something that catches my attention, so I have to backtrack, all just to see this leaf that has wedged itself between two reeds. Probably no one else would even notice this or give it a second glance, but I just find it amusing. I always get a little startle when I kick up a duck from the reeds. The ducks and geese are probably enjoying the quiet lake without any ski boats or many fishing boats on the water, so they're probably surprised to see me when I come by. And there goes another duck from the top of the beaver lodge. That's kind of interesting. And another. Let's take a closer look at the beaver lodge. We've seen this one in other episodes. Pretty amazing what they can build. This is a nice quiet bay. There are no homes over here, and fishing boats have limited access because it's usually full of lily pads and quite shallow. Here's a chip bag plucked out of the water. Here's our first bobber of the day. How did that get all the way back in here? The trees look so beautiful reflecting in the water. Look at all those colors. However, this piece of litter that's hanging out in the water is just ruining that pretty view. So I am going to pick that up. The muck is really thick here. Look at that. I picked up that little blue piece of plastic, and now here is some old styrofoam. Here is a nice little wildlife spotting, a painted turtle enjoying some sun on this log. Pretty soon he will be finding a spot to hibernate all winter. I don't remember seeing this structure before. Maybe this is a muskrat lodge? And rounding the corner into a second little bay, I find a complete shotgun shell. Normally, I've just been finding the base, which is picked up with my metal detector, but this is the complete shell, so not sure what year this might have been used for hunting on the lake. But it also looks like it might have a zebra mussel attached to it. Here's an old soup can. This looks like a brown glass bottle. Got some stuff inside it, so try and get some more water in there, swirl it around, and then hopefully the muck will just drain out. Not much trash gets back in these bays where it's usually full of the lily pads, but this time of year the wind can carry these cans until they bump into the reeds. So that's what I found here, and I'm just going to do the same process of swishing water around and trying to get all that goop out. So I've almost made it to the north end of the lake, and I see a strange sight. There is a swan just hanging out in the water. Doesn't seem to be worried that I'm getting closer to it, when I realize that that's not a real swan. I don't know why somebody has some kind of swan decoy, but there it is. And now we're going to transition from this nice clear water to some very green, almost greenish blue algae blooms. It gets really soupy over here at the end of summer when it's very warm and maybe there hasn't been much rain. So we'll see more of this in a little bit. I'm paddling in between two sections of reeds. Look at this find. Some kid has unfortunately lost their little tugboat toy. And just off to the other side of where I found that is a sandcastle mold. Another toy that's been lost. If you've watched some of my other episodes, you may have noticed that I enjoy finding feathers that are out on the water and give them a little spin. Well, this feather I find here is quite interesting. I've never seen a feather like it before. It's got a really thick quill and a tiny feather on top. And then looking down into the shaft, it appears to be full of some blood. So upon further research, I've discovered that this is known as a pin feather or a blood feather. After a bird has molted and is growing a new feather, there is a blood supply to that feather, and if it gets broken off, the bird can bleed quite a bit from that. But after the feather is developed, the blood supply recedes back into the follicle. So, bird, I hope you're doing okay. I'm still in this area between two sections of reeds. Seems to be the hangout for a lot of ducks and geese, as you'll see. And red-winged blackbirds, of course. And in the reeds, I can see something hiding. Let me show you what it is. It's a pool noodle. I found many of these this season. There is a raptor up in a dead tree. I'm not quite certain what kind it is. Could be the osprey or a hawk. Here's a lid for some bait. Oh, and night crawlers are earthworms, in case you didn't know that term. Here's some more of that blue looking algae. I'm going to backtrack out of here. We'll keep seeing it, but I don't know if this is the type of blue algae that can be toxic to, pets and swimmers if they ingest it. But I am going to get this plate out of the water. And this plastic. Gotta figure out how to drain the contents out. I do not want to take that home with me. Here's a Snickers wrapper. And that's going to do it for this season. Season 1 of For Lake's Sake. Let's head back to the dock, see what we found, and then sadly pack up the kayak. So here we have all of our finds from today. Please remember why I do what I do. It's all for Lake's sake. And for today's bonus content, the season is changing. The last of the geese and ducks are about to leave, and we even have some swans. Here are some sleeping geese, probably getting ready for their migration soon. And then in the next couple of clips, you will see the hustle and bustle happening right out behind our house as the lake turns to ice and it starts closing up, leaving only a little bit of water. And then even a bald eagle comes by. And then all of those ducks and geese and swans, as soon as the lake completely freezes over, they will head south. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next season.